The next ability to be discussed is called Clairsentience. Someone actively using the ability is called a Clairsentient. The category the ability falls under is feeling-based, knowledge-based, and also includes sense-based abilities. The manifestations of the abilities seem, from an outsider's perspective, very similar to intuition in that there's a lot of insights and impressions, although clairsentience is vastly different. To define the word, clair, as we've established before, means beyond, and sentience, of course, is sentience. Now, the problem we have with that word is that sentience isn't something we truly understand. It's something we basically only have abstract concepts to explain. But in general terms, sentience is what separates us from others, from animals, for instance. Sentience is our ability to think, to reason, to rationalize, to feel, to understand, to learn, to develop, to grow, to evolve. All of that and more is covered under sentience. And then clairsentience itself goes beyond all of that. So with clairsentience, unfortunately, a lot of people use that word the same way that they use clairvoyant and psychic in the past. It's not a descriptive of their ability, it's just sort of saying that I'm psychic without going and using the word psychic. And unfortunately, on top of that, a lot of people who are intuitive, because from the outsider's perspective they seem very similar, will decide that they're clairsentient even though they have absolutely no clairsentient ability. Now, when someone uses that word, if in general you assume that they're intuitive, 99 times out of 100 you will probably be right. So with clairsentience itself, there is actually a very distinct difference between it and every other ability. And we'll get into that in a second. However, first I want to explain that another reason everyone wants to use that word is because clairsentience itself is currently the single rarest gift there is on the entire planet. It's one of those things that everybody wants because they know if you have it, they believe it makes you special. It doesn't, but people assume that. So think of clairsentience as almost like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's not quite so simple, but that's how a lot of people associate with it, and that's why a lot of them use that word, even though it has nothing to do with what their abilities are. Now, the reason clairsentience itself is so rare isn't because it's actually rare, it's because of how we view the world as a species. Most people don't want to be real. They want to be emotionless. They want to be efficient. It's almost like they want to be robots, right? They want to be unique and yet be connected. They want to be separate but distinct. And all of that interferes with sentience itself, and so of course you can't go beyond. So the trick to becoming clairsentient is you first have to involve sentience. And that effectively means that you have to become everything that you are. It means you have to have the full gambit of emotions. You have to trust yourself. You have to understand everything you think, believe, and all of that, right? Before you can even go further, you have to have all of that. And because we as a species don't want to have all of that, we've destroyed any chance we have of clairsentience being more common. Now, at the end of the day, it is distinctly possible that clairsentience could actually become the most common gift, even though it's currently the rarest. Because if we can evolve as a species and go beyond where we are now, who knows where it's going to end up. So it is possible that clairsentience in a hidden ability is very common, but we won't really know until we have more people doing it, until there's more of a population of people that are accepting that option and going that much further in their own life. So to develop clairsentience itself, there's only one option, and that's to basically become everything that you are, to embrace everything that's in you, the good, the bad, the indifferent, no matter what it is, no matter how scary it is, no matter how big or small it is. And effectively, if you can do that, then of course you'll become sentient in the full sense of the word. And then if it's within you, you'll naturally just evolve beyond it, because that's what clairsentience is about. Now, to do that, the easiest thing to do is to work to develop all the other abilities like we're doing anyway. The more that you can learn to trust yourself and be yourself, the better chance you'll have of opening that door. But again, it's one of those abilities you can't grow if it isn't in you. Now, with clairsentience, one of the easy ways to look and see if it's in you is actually to look back at things like when you were 3 or 4, before adults had a chance to really kind of temper your personality or your understanding of the world. If you understood everything that was going on around you before you even understood the nuances of language, there's a good chance you're clairsentient. That doesn't mean that you knew things were happening. That's not what it's about. It's about that you sort of understood the rules of the universe. You knew how things worked, even though you've never had any option to even touch them or see them or experience them. And that's very different, because with intuitive, you can get some of that, but with clairsentience, you get all of it. And in essence, that's actually the practical applications of clairsentience. You can actually take it and use it to experiencing things you've never done before. So with clairsentience, you can almost, looking at shows like Star Trek and the Holosuite, that's basically how the most practical application of clairsentient works, is that we create an environment in our minds that have nothing to do with reality, but yet is entirely based on reality. That we can run simulations and accurately see what things feel like, taste like, what they'd be in all forms, right? And that's really where clairsentience's most practical application lies. With that, you also find that if you become clairsentient, you gain a lot of information that isn't relevant currently. With intuition, a lot of the insights and impressions we get are relevant now or really quickly after now. With clairsentience, you can get a tremendous amount of information that you don't even have the faintest idea how to explain, how to understand, how to rationalize. And a lot of it, think of it like getting pieces of the big picture without having the box to work with, as in reference to a puzzle. So you'll get a tremendous amount of information that's absolutely relevant, that will completely change your life, but you have no idea where it fits or how it relates to anything. And over time, as we gain more pieces of that puzzle, then of course it starts making sense. And that's a lot of how clairsentient works. In fact, if you have the ability, typically you won't even know that you've got it until after you've had a lot of experience with it, and then all of a sudden you'll look back and realize, oh, that wasn't intuition, that wasn't whatever. So clairsentience, even though it's an incredibly powerful gift, manifests in more subtle ways than all the others. Because it's going at such incredibly vast levels, we actually miss a lot of it. We might see the tip of it and then slowly evolve the rest, where with something like intuition, we see the whole thing for whatever it is. And really, that's the distinguishing element. So the point is, with clairsentience, it allows you to actually experiencing the world without having to experience it. So the greatest manifestation, as I said before, is that you can gain understanding without having to put in a tremendous amount of firsthand experience. You can actually do a lot of that in your own head, or run simulations in your head and then see if what you came up with is real or not, and thereby saving a tremendous amount of physical effort in whatever you're doing. And again, all of that is why everyone wants to be clairsentient, but just because you want it doesn't mean you have it. And unfortunately, intuition, because it mirrors everything, can offer a lot of those tools to a very minor degree. Again, the difference is looking at the process. If it's about now or more directly related to what's happening, then that's intuition. If it's absolutely completely off the scale, don't have any idea where you're getting these things or how they relate or what there is about them, then that's more likely. As another sideline, there used to be a show on TV called The Pretender. If you've ever seen that show, that is actually a clairsentient talent, even though that's only a part of clairsentience. And so just if you ever have a chance, maybe go online or see if you can find something about that show, and it'll maybe help you better understand. But again, the whole point is that if you have clairsentience or not, you're born with it. It's not a talent that you can develop in the traditional sense, but you can do all the work to discover everything there is to know about yourself, and if it's within you, it will unlock. If it isn't, it'll unlock every other gift anyway, so really, you have nothing to lose in trying, and everything to gain. And at the end, who knows what the end result will be? It could unlock things that you can't even begin to imagine. So why not give it a try? It'll be difficult, but at the end of the day, it's totally worth it. So that's clairsentience for you.